Hello everyone and welcome back to the Roundtable with Nate Daddy. I'm your host, Russell Nate Daddy Patterson, and this week we're joined with Jonathan Graves, a fellow sports writer here at GwdToday, to talk a little bit more and get more in depth with college football. But first we'd like to start off by talking about area volleyball this week. In college volleyball, Southern Western University is traveling to Lander on Thursday for a 3-game matchup. Also in high school volleyball, Greenville Tech will host Ware Shoals this week, as well as Pendleton travels to Emerald.
Also on Thursday, Russell, in volleyball, we'll have Dixie traveling to 96. Lawrence will also be taking on Greenwood at Greenwood. Crescent will be traveling to Abbeville. And in college football, we have Newberry traveling to Midwestern State and Western Carolina traveling to PC.
Awesome. Also in college football, this week, Carolina will be hosting Wofford. We remember from a couple years ago, Wofford fumbled on the 2-yard line when they had a chance to beat Carolina. Hopefully they won't fumble this year. And also, SC State will be traveling to Clemson for a real big game. In-state rivals, you know, South Carolina State, Clemson. Hopefully it'll be a good game. Hopefully Clemson will come on top. Now for the big stories. This week, Spartanburg High School is traveling to Greenwood High. Greenwood is coming off 2 losses in a row, one to Lexington, one to Dorman. Also, Spartanburg is coming off 2 big wins, one over Union and one over Sumter. Me personally, I think that I'm going to go with Spartanburg in this game this week. I think Greenwood's defense is still struggling without Big Kelsey Quarles. I think their offense still hasn't found rhythm, still can't be that productive. So I'm going to go with Spartanburg 30, Greenwood 23. Jonathan, what do you think about it?
Russell, when I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at Greenwood, and they come off 2, weak performances against Lexington and Dorman. And one of the things I'm looking for is the defensive line. The defensive line has really been struggling. One thing when I traveled to cover the game with Greenwood and Lexington that I saw, and I noticed, Greenwood really doesn't have that much size on the defensive line. And it's really more about the athleticism and the speed of the defense. But I think in this game we're going to get to see a good dose of Swearinger and Best, and we're really going to see some home runs, some big plays in the secondary of the Spartanburg, whatever the mascot is.
The Vikings.
The Vikings.
I think.
But anyway, I'm going to go with a score of 24-21 Greenwood, and I believe they'll get back on track this week, playing at home.
Awesome. So we're going with, he's taking Greenwood this week. I'm taking Spartanburg this week. So we'll see who really knows their football.
Next we'll have on Friday Abbeville versus Lincoln. And Russell, give me a little bit of a feel on the Lincoln, Georgia team.
Lincoln, Georgia team, from what I've read and what I've heard from people, is that Lincolnton's coming into Abbeville as a powerhouse of Georgia. They're a 1A football team in Georgia, a smaller class, of course, than Abbeville, but are very, very dominant. Every year they put out D1 to D2 prospects. They pretty much handedly win the state championship, I think, of an average of 20-something points every year, if I'm not mistaken. So I hope this will be Abbeville to me's first, challenge, first real big game of the season.
Exactly. I think this will be Abbeville's first true test of the season. One thing I'm looking for from Abbeville in this game is, will Elmore be able to run against the Lincolnton defense? I'm pretty sure they're going to stack the box and try to take the running game away from Abbeville. That means that Thaxton is going to have to produce in the passing game. I don't see that happening for Abbeville, not this week. Still, a lot of improvement needs to be made in that passing game for Abbeville. I'm going to take Lincolnton also in this game, 21-20.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to go with a little different from him. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I'm going to go Abbeville 24, Lincolnton 21. I just think the only reason I give them the 3 points is because they're playing at home. Simple as that. They're playing in their backyard. All right, our next game we're going to talk about is 96 versus Crescent. 2 schools who are, 96 coming off a really close victory over Saluda. Thank goodness for a missed field goal. And Crescent coming off a win over Dixie. One, I don't see Crescent as, I'll be honest, as good as 96.
Exactly.
I don't see the size. I don't see the speed. I don't see their special teams as good as 96's.
Right.
I think that the wing tee that they run, they're not too fast enough to run it. Their line's a little too slow.
Obviously.
And I think that 96 is going to pretty much handled up the front of their offensive line and just caused so many problems for them. I don't think they're going to be able to do much against them.
I'm seeing the same thing, but I think before we crown 96 the state champions for the 1A, we need to take a look at some of their, wins and some of their close wins at home. And also, they haven't played a road game. So, 4 straight home games. I'm kind of looking to see what they're going to do on the road against Crescent. Also, when you look back at the games, Emerald, the punt return, they could have had a win if they would have stopped Kelsey Washington on the punt return. And also, Saluda, if they had a kicker, they probably would have won the game.
Exactly.
So, I'm looking for 96 to still come out victorious this week against Crescent in a big way. I'm going to go 37-20.
37-20. Well, I'm also going to agree with 96 as a win, but I'm going to make it a point difference and go 38-20 as my prediction.
Right. I think that Lakeland's game of the week is really Emerald at Ware Shoals.
I agree.
Russell, talk to me a little about what Ware Shoals is having to do, what their struggles have been this season.
Well, their struggles so far this season, the main thing is special teams. They do not have a kicker, and they can't rely on going for 2 every time. I think that they lost Bo Brown, their center, punter, and kicker, for the ACL, which hurt them tremendously, I believe. Also this week, they lose Ladarius Hawthorne, their star running back. And I think that's going to hurt them a little bit as well, because they have to rely mainly on Lance Richardson. So last week against Pendleton, he carried his load. He was very, very productive in that game. But when you got a 2-headed monster with him and Ladarius Hawthorne, and then you lose one of them, it's a big difference in the game.
Very tough. And Russell, when I'm looking at Emerald, it's been a disappointing start for them. 25 seniors, and yet they're struggling. And I really don't understand what's going on inside the Emerald locker room. You look out on the field, you see the talent, but yet they're not producing on the field. And I'm looking for them to get back to the fundamentals this week, pounding D Parks, the senior tailback, and getting back to establishing the run. And then with the Ware Shoals, I want them to stop the Ware Shoals run and make them a one-dimensional team. Also, when I'm looking at Emerald, I want them to come out of the locker room showing a little bit of energy when they
more emotion.
Exactly. And when they played the team last week, which I believe was Southside, 33 second half points. I mean, it's just not going to get the job done at home. I think Emerald this week, they're going to come back with a little bit more emotion, ready to prove something. They got 25 seniors. They got a senior quarterback in Zane Newton that's starting to come along, I'm looking for a close game against Ware Shoals since they're on the road. I'm looking for a 21-20 win by Emerald.
Emerald. He's going with the upset this week. I also think it's going to be a really close game this week. I don't see Emerald beating Ware Shoals. I see it as a close game up until the 4th quarter. I have Ware Shoals 31, Emerald 28. For all of y'all that want to put your own predictions on, click on below right here in this area. Right here, put your own predictions on for the game and see how close you are to me and Jonathan. Also, if you may be able to win prizes that we're giving out and everything. So, hopefully we'll see you guys at the round table.